Now let's move on to the most important session of the day, the topic for the 100th Pallikuram Global Connect, the cricket connection, life skills for success. Cricket, much like life, is about strategy, resilience, teamwork, and grace under pressure. Lessons that resonate deeply in the world of education. And to take us through this insightful journey, we are privileged to have with us a speaker who has worn many hats, a celebrated former civil servant, author, and a former cricket umpire, and someone who embodies the perfect intersection of discipline, intellect, and sportsmanship. He was a columnist for Pallikudam, the Education Observer, writing on a wide range of topics of interest to students and educators. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. K. N. Raghavan as he shares his reflections on how the cricketing mindset can empower educators and learners alike. Let's give him a big virtual round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, Naisi, for the very warm words of introduction. And good evening to all of you, particularly Father Verghese, Mr. Srikumar Raghavan, and all the other dignitaries who are gracing the occasion. And let me begin by congratulating Pallikodam Global Connect for the marvelous century. In cricketing terms, you are just taking guard for the next one. I'm sure that you'll achieve this landmark with dignity and finesse in a very short time. Well, I am a product of Rajagiri. I studied in Rajagiri High School from 73 to 79. And I believe that this institution has contributed to make me what I am more than anything else in my life. So I owe a deep sense of gratitude to the institution. And it's always a matter of great pleasure, privilege, and pride to be associated with any of the activities, particularly something like the Pallikudam, which has been a sort of path breaker in the area that it has been functioning. Well, the story of my cricketing journey has been one of passion which was lit in 1973. It came around in very different circumstances. I was taught the basics of cricket by my father. He did not do so that I could become a good player. He wanted me to read the newspaper Hindu, and he thought that the best way to do so was to get me interested in the sport. Those were the times when an England team under Tony Lewis was touring India, and there was considerable excitement, especially after we had defeated England and West Indies in 1971. So newspapers used to give a lot of coverage to cricket-related news, and he taught me the basics of the game so that I would read the newspaper. So for me, the love of the game was always linked to the love for the written word. So both entered me, or I developed a passion for both around the same time. I joined Rajagiri in 1973, just as my passion for cricket was growing. There's a story behind me joining Rajagiri, which I have told many times, but I'll repeat it again. Uh, those days, I am sure even these days, uh, selection to the school was a very tough process. And Rajagiri those days had admission only from class 5. So there was an entrance exam. There was an exam in the morning and an interview in the afternoon. And this was in the month of May. So in the month of April and May, when all my other friends were playing, my parents asked me to study so that I could crack this exam. And I was a very unwilling student. I want to go out and play. After seeing me dodge studies for a week or so, my father told me one day, come, let's go out and see the school. When we went to see the school, the first thing I saw, and probably the only thing I noticed, was a big ground. And my only question was, can I play on this ground? And my father told me, if you win selection to this school, you can play on this ground every day. So I thought it was a decent bargain. If I study for 2 or 3 weeks, then I can play for 6 years on this ground. So I sat and studied and somehow cracked the exam. And I made the most of it. There would not have been a day when I didn't play on that ground during the next 6 years. Even if it was raining, even if there was something, we would play. And that actually was the foundation for whatever little skills I could develop in my life after that. I'll always say that we got considerable inputs from inside the classroom, but what I learned from outside the classroom in Rajagiri was much more valuable. It takes the basics of what the sport teaches. The first and foremost thing is that losing is a part of life. You don't always win everything. You should learn to lose. And while losing, you learn much more than when you're winning. When you are winning, you're happy. You become complacent. But when you're losing, you introspect. You understand what went wrong. You think deeply about why it went wrong and what should be the corrective measures taken. So this was a pattern that was set of playing in the ground, winning occasionally, losing more often, and improving yourself. And next point is that the sportsmen always shake hands at the end of a match. There is no rancor. You may have arguments on the field, you may fight points with spirit, with determination, but at the end of it, well, you understand it's all part of the game. And then when you shake hands, what you tell them is that you are better today, but then I will be better tomorrow. So this was a sort of spirit that was instilled into us, instilled into all of us in the school who were taking part in the sports and related activities, which has always stood us in good stead. My passion for cricket continued throughout my school days, but opportunities for playing the game outside the school were rather limited. We had a school team, we used to play inside the school. There were hardly any exposures to clubs or anything like that. So when I completed class 10 and moved to junior college, those days junior college was part of the regular college. It used to be called pre-degree. I realized what a big gap it was between school cricket and college cricket. Even getting into a college cricket side was not easy, and playing in intercollegiate tournaments and all required much more amount of commitment and competence than was required at the school level. So how do you bridge a gap like this when you're suddenly exposed to it? And those days, studies was a main line. Sports was always something that came as part of it. I was encouraged to take up sports, as I said, more for the purpose of reading newspapers and also because my father believed that a healthy mind in a healthy body is the known and accepted principle. So you could play the game only for so many hours because your focus was more on studies and gaining admission to a professional college. That was when I discovered the world of umpiring. I was very, very fortunate. It was my passion for the game, it was my craze for the game that led me to umpire. Because I found that I could enjoy the game out in the middle, even if I am not taking active part as a batsman or a bowler. I could still enjoy the game by being in the middle and being part of the activities and taking some decisions that had an impact on the outcome of the match. And it also helped me to find out a new facet of myself that, well, laws are something which I found interesting. Laws of the game of a sport that I loved so deeply was something that fascinated me. So I took to it like a duck to water. And within a short span of time, I became a reasonably good umpire. I could pass the exams, I could qualify to a state panel, all by the time I was about 16 or 17. And then I went into medical college. So in medical college, again, this journey continued. But by the time I reached the final year, there's one more thing happened in between. Immediately after I qualified for the state panel, came a exam for the Ranji Trophy panel. Came an ex- Can I continue?
Yes,
Came
sir.
an exam to the Ranji Trophy panel, and one of the persons who had qualified with me got into a Ranji Trophy panel. Those days, Ranji Trophy was almost like today's IPL, as top stars like Sunil Gavaskar, Kapil Dev, and all played Ranji Trophy. So this became a goal for me. Okay, if I take up umpiring, I can umpire Ranji Trophy matches. So even if I am not good enough to play Ranji Trophy as a player, I can umpire a Ranji Trophy match. But then I didn't know that Ranji Trophy panel exams happen once in a decade. So I kept on umpiring matches in the hope that soon the exams will come. Unfortunately, they didn't come. By the time I reached the final year in MBBS, well, I realized that I had to put cricket on the back burner. Final year in MBBS is not easy. You have to study a lot. You have to spend more time in the ward and clinics and in the library. And then I completed that. Then the house urgency came. Then I wrote the civil service. So 4 years from 86 to 90 were years when I did not do much of cricket. Then what happened was that in 90, I qualified for civil service. Almost immediately came the Ranji Trophy panel exam. So I took it and I qualified. So this was the first phase when my love for the game, the passion was so overwhelming that I was willing to sacrifice everything to be part of it. I had gone and umpired in small grounds in Palakkad, in Kasargod, in Pathanamthitta, in Trivandrum, of course in Ernakulam, because I loved the game so madly. And it was umpiring was something which gave me a lot of joy. There was a lot of passion associated with it. I was fortunate that I got time off from the college for this. Well, I must admit that I used to bunk classes also for doing it. But since I was able to clear the exams and be basically a decent student, nobody attached much importance to it. And of course, from 86, I quit it for 4 years. So this experience of doing matches regularly stood me in good stead when I got to Ranji Trophy panel. Then I discovered that again, it was a huge gap between what I was seeing in Kerala at that point and the level of cricket that was played at Ranji Trophy during that period of time. Well, Kerala was not a very strong state as far as cricket was concerned. Well, Tinu came in towards the end of last century. And I'm sure he would remember the times when Kerala did not have even one turf wicket. And we were forced to play first class matches on turf wicket. So it was extremely difficult for players to make the transition from playing on matting wickets to turf wickets. It was equally difficult for umpires because we are used to umpiring on matting wickets. Turf wickets are a different ball game. So my first Ranji Trophy match was in a place called Ranchi, now famous as a birthtown of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and it was a match between Bihar and Tripura. It is not, by Ranji Trophy standards, a very exciting or a match that people used to follow. So I went to Ranchi and went for the match. Bihar wanted to get full points. They wanted to win the game badly. And they had a very good left arm spinner in their ranks. So what they did was that they ensured that the wicket was underprepared so that the left arm spinner, I still remember his name was Ashwini Kumar, would get wickets. So one look at the pitch, we are convinced that this is going to help the spinners. And Bihar Ranchi officials are saying we are prepared it because Ashwini Kumar will take wickets here. So on the day before the match, I prayed to God. I prayed a lot. Oh God, let Ashwini Kumar not bowl from my end. We went, the match started, and as luck would have it, after 1 over, Ashwini Kumar came to my end and said, Sir, I am bowling from your end, left arm over. And then I thought, oh God, I had it. A burly 6 foot Bihari. And from the first ball, I knew that this guy could bowl very well. In the second or third over, there's a huge appeal. I said, not out. He just glared at me and went off. Next over, there was an even bigger appeal. Everyone was jumping up and down. Again, I said, not out. The spin dropped, silence on the ground. Ashwini Kumar glared at me. I looked straight ahead. Then he came 2 steps forward and asked, Aap andha kya? Roughly translated, are you blind? I didn't say anything. He again shouted, Aap andha kya? No reaction from me. He turned around and announced to the world, Ye sirf andha nahi, sunta bhi nahi. This guy is not just blind, but also deaf. Well, it would have been a good joke had it been on someone else but me. Again, I managed to keep a straight face. After 2-3 overs, he got a wicket. And at that break, the captain of Bihar side came to me. His name was Sabah Karim. And he told me, Sir, you missed that edge. So I just looked straight and said, Mr. Karim, you should know that when the umpire gives not out, there is no edge. He looked at me and asked, What do you say? I said, when I say no out, there is no edge. I don't know what happened after that, but after that, the players stopped appearing like mad. Looking back, this was a great lesson for me. What are the life qualities that you need to be successful in life? The first and foremost, I would say, is composure. I have been exposed as an officer to various tense situations. There are conditions where people caravo you. There are conditions where the mob shouting at you. There are conditions where people applaud your actions. But through thick and thin, you have to maintain your composure. If during a crisis you lose your cool and you start shouting, well, nobody will come to you with a solution. People stay away from you. I remember a senior officer who would shout at everyone. So nobody dared to give him the bad news. So they will all cook up figures, they will all give false data so that they could avoid the shouting. And ultimately, he didn't reach anywhere. He only created tension and passed tension. But if you are a cool person, if you can maintain your composure, if you can restrain from passing on the stress and tension, well, then you will be much more successful. This is the first lesson I took home. So umpiring helped me to develop that composure. This was a game that helped me to develop the composure of taking success and failure, of applause and brickbats, bouquets and brickbats in my stride. You have to maintain your cool and calm. And you might be feeling tense. Who doesn't feel tense? You might be feeling the strain. You may be feeling the various emotions that every human being has. But external word, you should have a serene, calm, and cool demeanor. Then only will you be able to inspire confidence. You may make mistakes. Who doesn't make mistakes? But when you make mistakes, the people realize that here is a person who tried, who was receptive to ideas, who put in his effort, who was calm and detached and tried to do his job. That inspires confidence in the others. So that is the first lesson I took home. Second is about the discipline that comes with the game. Now, we all know that players need to be disciplined. All of us need to be disciplined. But when you watch any game, cricket, football, hockey, anything, you only watch the players. You seldom watch the umpires. After all, the players are the center of attraction. But have you ever seen an umpire take a break for any reasons? Players go out. They get injured, they are ill, they go for a water break. Does the umpire go out any time during any match? He doesn't. He's always there. Half an hour or 1 hour before the start of the match. He is there after the closure to do the winding up things. And during the entire thing, he doesn't take even a toilet break. This requires a tremendous amount of mental and physical discipline. When you're umpiring a match, your preparation starts 48 hours in advance. What you eat, you control that. You should have a good sleep. You should be properly relaxed. So a person like me reads a book. So these are things that fall into place like that. So the physical and the mental discipline that comes with it has always stood me in good stead. But there are many instances where you are pushed to the limits, but you find that extra ounce of energy to keep going. And that has been thanks to the lessons I got from umpiring. Third, I was an officer, now I am retired, of central government, working in the area of taxation. The moment you say a tax inspector, people have only two emotions. One is fear, the other is hate. Nobody loves a tax officer. I know that. But they camouflage it by showing some degree of respect and subservience. The moment you say you are from customs or you are from income tax or you are from GST, people will always address you as sir. They will show all the respect. They will fawn on you because they are afraid or they don't want to be troubled. And within your office also, you have a certain level of importance. So you sort of live in a bubble. You are an echo chamber where people sort of keep on repeating what you wish to hear. This can definitely boost the ego and make you into a pompous ass. But cricket kept me grounded. Those of you who play will know that players shout a lot of galis at each other. But the worst galis are reserved for the umpire. So all through my life, I got my share of them, which kept me grounded. So this is a very important lesson in life. When you go forward in life, you may get surrounded. There will be instances where you get surrounded by people who tell you what you want to hear so that you feel happy, and then you can be goaded or coaxed into making a wrong decision. But when you are on the cricket field, you're kept on your toes all the time. There's a lot of pressure, but you're kept on your toes. These sort of pressure tactics by the players and the general situation there keeps you grounded. And it also helps in you being decisive. Government officers are accused of being indecisive. An umpire has to be decisive. If there is an appeal, you have to give a decision, out or not out. Is it a no ball or a wide? It's a split second. You would have seen in IPL, where it has passed above the shoulder level or above the waist level, umpire has to make a decision in a split second. How does he do it? Because one is powers of concentration. He is fully focused on the job. Two, that concentration translates into effective decision making. So this is another aspect that came in. And overall, I think any person who is connected to sports, as a player, as an umpire, and even as an administrator, needs to be extremely balanced. Take Sachin Tendulkar, take Virat Kohli, take Rohit Sharma. Do you see when they bat, they're completely relaxed. They are balanced. They will not be caught on the wrong foot. You don't see them in some awkward angle. You're perfectly balanced. This is a balance between life, within work, in your mind. As Tinu said, body, mind, and the spirit, all working in cohesion. And that is what you gain from the world of sports. For me, there was one more thing that I gained. I said about my love for the written word, which came from reading articles about sports. Well, apart from writing the odd essay in school, I did not write anything much. When I was in medical college, my close friend was a magazine editor, so he asked me to write an article. Under pressure from him, I wrote an article and I could write only about cricket, so I wrote about Kapil Dev. It was called Haryana Hurricane. I forgot all about it, and once you get into government service, you write only office notes and memos. Sometime in 1999, Dr. M.K. Munir, who subsequently became a minister, he was a classmate of mine in Calicut Medical College. He called me and said, after exchanging pleasantries, he said, "Why don't you write a book on cricket?" I thought he was joking. Then he told me he was serious and said that he is having a publishing house called Olive and they want to get into English language publishing. And this was just before the World Cup of 1999 and it was a cricket season. So he said that this was a correct time for launching a book on cricket, particularly World Cup, and asked whether I could do it. Time was short. I said, I'll try. Well, I was encouraged by my daughter, who said that this is a fantastic opportunity to become a writer. I wasn't so convinced myself, but I wrote the book. When I wrote the book, apart from the many aspects of writing, I discovered something that I love writing. This was something that came to me at the age of close to 38, that I love writing. Then I got opportunities for writing when I moved to Singapore. So then I could discover the pleasure of writing. So whenever I'm asked to write something, I grab the opportunity. You mentioned about the Pallikudam. I used to love doing that. Writing once a month an article on a variety of topics was hugely stimulating for me. Plus, I get a lot of pleasure myself. So it's a very selfish act in writing. So that passion grew. So that love for the written word has kept me going. So it has helped me to publish books. It has helped me to write columns. So these days, and yesterday I met a friend and I told him that I had some work to do on a column. And he said, "Why do you have to do that? Just put it on Chat GTP and the whole article will come out." I said, "I know it will happen. But then that will not give me the pleasure of writing." So it's a combination of many things that have happened. Cricket gave me a lot of happiness because I have passion for the game. From the pitch, I took the qualities of balance, composure, discipline, decision making, and above all, a sense of resilience to keep going, whatever be the constraints, whatever be the challenges, whatever be the headwinds you face, to keep going. Because that is what a sportsman does. When the conditions are different, what do the sportsmen do? In cricket, you say, put your head down and bat. So, important thing in flying is not performing acrobatics when the weather is good. It is in surviving when the weather is bad. So, it helps you. Being in sports, being in a game like cricket, with its glorious uncertainties where anything can turn topsy turvy, is something which helps you to develop that vision, that balance, that perspective, which helps you to meet challenges head on. And for me, the added bonus was that it also gave me the pleasure of being able to write and find joy from that. So this has been my journey. And I hope it's like you have said that this is a century and you're taking guard for the next. I hope that I'm able to continue with these passions for the remaining years of my life. I wish Rajagiri Pallikudam Global Connect all the best in the future endeavors. It has been wonderful associating with you. And for me, this is a proud privilege to be part of your century meeting. And thank you, Naisi. Thank you, Srigumar Raghavan. Thanks all of you for being such a wonderful audience.